If I start with energy, look, we are a relatively small economy, about 260 billion US GDP. But like a lot of other OECD countries, we're going through an energy transition. We have become very ambitious to boost the amount of renewables in New Zealand. Sadly, we overlooked how important gas and coal would remain in terms of being a contingency fuel. So the $200 million is an attempt to create an additional buffer by reinvigorating our gas sector, whilst at the same time pursuing better outcomes via geothermal energy, more solar, more wind investment. But of course, when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine, electors and consumers want the lights on. And that's why we are revisiting the decision to ban further oil and gas. That decision is going to be overturned in New Zealand, and the $200 million will be a co-investment instrument to defang misapprehensions about New Zealand that we're not a safe place for energy purposes. So what we're not for prospecting, for exploration, we obviously have existing gas fields, but it's a wee bit like squeezing juice out of a lemon, and we want to fully exploit those fields. We have other areas around New Zealand that shows great potential, but a problem we're trying to overcome is how do we encourage people to come back to New Zealand when a number of them felt betrayed. In 2018, when there was a decision announced by Jacinda Ardern, the former Prime Minister, and that had the effect of dashing people's investment ambitions, and a number of them threatened never to come back. But you know what capital and business is like. They tend to, at the end of the day, look at whether or not something will make money. And we think that gas can still make money in New Zealand, and it can play a key role to overcome uncertainty as to how do we move forward in a gas transition in such a way that we don't completely write fossil fuels such as gas out of the mix. Well, New Zealand, for electricity purposes, has approximately 85% renewable energy. Predominantly, remember I'm talking about electricity here, predominantly hydro. And then we have geothermal as well. Now the geothermal resource is already functioning. It grew after the Second World War, and it has never really stopped growing. However, we are seeking to exploit what you might call the supercritical, the deeply embedded geothermal energy, 5 or 6 kilometers under the crust of the earth. And no nation has successfully pulled this off, but our government allocated a $60 million fund to address the engineering uncertainties. And look, if we can tap into this hitherto unexploited resource, we'll have boundless amounts of clean green energy. Well, sadly, it still remains quite a hotly debated issue in New Zealand. And I have to say, in Southeast Asia, there's an enormous amount of pragmatism. I've encountered no willingness up here to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels in terms of gas. So I think we need to replicate what's happening in Southeast Asia. We can still invest in renewables, but we need a backup, and the backup ought to be gas. At the moment, it's predominantly Indonesian coal, and who knows what geopolitical uncertainties lie in front of us. And we have indigenous gas. There is a proposal as well to import gas. Now, this would require an investment of some hundreds of millions of dollars to enable New Zealand to import gas, and that may or may not come to pass. But initially, what our government wants to do is to reignite both interest and confidence in our gas sector so that the energy uh, portion referred to as security can continue to grow. In New Zealand, we talk about three things. We talk about affordability, security, and sustainability. But without security, nothing is affordable, and it most certainly won't be sustainable. I would say that Singapore, a country with virtually no natural resources, has mined the most important capital of all, and that's human capital. And a small nation like ourselves, we have much to learn from Singapore. I do think, however, that some of the models that Singapore has explored, such as dedicated economic zones, do have application for us in New Zealand. We have a very important port in New Zealand called Marsden Point, historically the site of our refinery, and we're exploring how a special zone can be built around that port to incentivize, cluster, and grow investment in innovative energy outcomes, whether it be bioenergy, whether it be energy for the purposes of aviation. Near that site where we already import diesel and oil and whatnot, there's also incongruously the most recent investment in a battery storage on the basis of solar energy. So it's something that New Zealanders haven't been willing to pursue in the past. But look, the challenges and costs associated with energy transition means that we must not incarcerate ourselves in terms of what may have been orthodoxy of the past and look for fresh ideas in the future. New Zealand has about 5 million people, and not like a lot of other Western countries, um, we're barely able to replace ourselves with the birth rate. Although I must say I'm the father of 7 children, so I've done my bit. But jokes aside, the question of further immigration, that's a live issue. It's an issue that is important because energy infrastructure, physical infrastructure, has to be capable of dealing with population growth. And that is an equation we didn't get right in the past. Our population through immigration grew quite significantly, and the infrastructure is creaking. But coming back to energy, we already have hydro, we already have geo, we are investing on matters pertaining to solar and wind, and a frontier that has been pursued quite vigorously recently is bioenergy because we are a large forestry nation. But all of those things do not enable a nation to guarantee power unless you have what we call firming power. And that firming power, and from our perspective, ought to be gas. Now, whether it's 10, 15, 20, 30 years, it's that last 5 to 7% when circumstances conspire through Mother Nature against us. We don't have the rain, we don't have the sun, we don't have the wind. We need the backup of thermal power, and that's gas. So we have an ETS, an emissions trading scheme, and an area that is not captured in our emissions trading scheme is our farming sector, our dairy sector. And look, this is trade-off politics. Our major export comes from our food industry, and no country can afford a carbon transition unless it's consistently generating an economic surplus. So we already argue that our farming sector is very efficient. Comparably, speaking of other nations, the emissions associated with our farming sector are not as severe as other countries. Now, when we have the debates back home about how to decarbonize the food sector, we're also conscious that in the Paris Accord, there is a carve out for the food sector. And next year is our election, and I've no doubt in my mind in 2026, the practical implications of decarbonisation will be debated again during the election. Not to completely abandon the obligations, but to ensure that the transition is affordable and we can sell it to the public, and that the public believe that the changes, the costs are worth the effort. Hydrogen is very important to New Zealand, and we are working through the process of consulting right now to develop a statutory framework so that investors in hydrogen, that's naturally occurring hydrogen, I think they refer to it as orange hydrogen, can be developed with certainty, and people are confident that their rights will be safeguarded. There are some small steps being made in respect of trucks using hydrogen. Carbon capture, although we have significant areas such as disused gas, natural gas areas, if I can figuratively talk about them as chambers, although they're obviously rock, that is something that is still being explored, but the economics are devilishly hard for New Zealanders. And bioenergy, I think it has a bright future because we have such a large plantation forestry resource. But once again, what price will the market stand? And I think for small open trading economies like New Zealand, we've got to be willing to explore all options and to ensure that the three elements underpinning our energy policy are honoured. Number one, is it affordable? Number two, is it secure? Number three, is it sustainable? Now, I'm conscious in Singapore, I generally hear people talking about, is the energy secure, and does it address consumer welfare? This is these 2 points I've heard throughout Southeast Asia. How secure is the energy, and what is the impact on consumer welfare? So we state it slightly differently. We used affordability, sustainability, and security. New Zealand became something of a cartoon figure. We leapt out of the starting blocks, sought to cancel any future oil and gas without fully understanding the consequences we were unleashing. So I was a politician of that government, that's the Jacinda Ardern government. So my trip up here is a form of atonement. We obviously didn't get that right. And it's good to be aspirational, ambitious, but not at the cost of the viability of your economy. So number one, we have created a $200 million fund to co-invest and de-risk investment in the gas sector. Number two, we are reversing the ban introduced by former government. Number three, we are about to initiate a block offer, an offering where people will have the opportunity to make a bid. Two ways to do it, either on the basis of defined areas or for the private sector to approach the New Zealand government of their own volition. We have a fast track piece of legislation which accelerates the consideration of multiple consents so that investors aren't marooned for long periods of time. We are refining our foreign direct investment legislation, which will be public over the next month or so. And we are also basically using this trip as an opportunity to stitch all of that together and tell Southeast Asia and other investors that New Zealand's open for business. We need to be respectful that a number of investors have environmental bottom lines that they have to report on. But one thing that our government is not particularly interested in is large organizations visiting their environmental bottom lines on New Zealand in such a way it compromises our economic solvency. You see, in New Zealand, we believe it's the area of politics that should address the trade-offs of climate change. And to do that, what we're hoping to achieve is to show that we are already largely generating our electricity from clean green sources. And we're a lesson to the rest of the world. The last 5, 7, 8% that rely on fossil fuels do not seek perfection to the point where you ruin the viability and the productivity of your economy. And it's really important, and I think that this lesson is already understood in Southeast Asia, that unless you can carry the people with you, unless you can maintain economic momentum, unless you can consistently generate and overcome problems such as current account deficit, then there's no point in achieving aspirational green targets if you end up hobbling your economy and losing the trust and confidence of your people. Yeah, so our government is made up of three parties, and the party that I belong to is led by Right Honourable Winston Peters, and he is our climate minister, our foreign minister. So he realises that climate politics is a key feature of international politics. But back home, we need to consistently generate economic surplus. We depend on imports. We consistently run a current account deficit. We rely on international investment. We cannot, as a small country, lead the crusade to save the planet if we scorch our own economy. And that is the reputation that I have of putting the trade-offs right in front of my fellow New Zealanders and explaining to them what are the costs and who will bear the costs. Because I think a lot of climate change debates and the ideology has been captured by elites, and they don't live in the same world as the voters who empower me. And it's good that the elites meet a earthy politician like myself. Then they realize that a lot of their vanity projects have to pass the muster of common sense and economic realism, which is what a nationalist politician like myself deals with every day. For small countries like Singapore and New Zealand, the challenge is to ensure that we can afford the transition and move at such a pace that science and technology can help solve the problem, and don't let our political aspirations race too far ahead of scientific economic rationalism. So naturally, I see my role as someone born in 1959 in the following way. We must ensure there is an economic platform so that the choices that we leave of an economic character for the next generation enables them to live a life as economically fulfilling as I have had. And I don't see that as being antagonistic to climate outcomes, because science, technology, and the fact that the world is dynamic. We have infinite capacity as people to generate solutions. And the other thing I'd remind us, climate's not the only environmental challenge that little countries like New Zealand has to deal with. We are dealing with pollution. We are dealing with a host of oceanic challenges. And we mustn't let the climate debate paralyze us physically or hobble us mentally.